You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 354 for Sunday the 14th of March 2021.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Janie.
Hello there, Michelle. Lovely to speak to you, my dear.
I know. I think last week the pair of us were just like, I don't literally have the time to sit down and record, because it's not just the time where we have a chat. We have to do the research and put the show notes together, and then it all needs editing and uploading and releasing and making sure we do some social media so people hear about the show. And literally each show can sometimes take, 5-6 hours quite easily.
Yeah, and I'd say we've both got kind of crazy lives at the moment. Both working in education. That's bringing its own set of which we use the word challenges at the moment.
I'd go with challenges. It's Friday afternoon as we are recording, as I finished work for the week, and challenges is quite an acceptable term at the moment.
That's the polite term we're going to stick with, isn't it?
No comment. But I will say, and I know you'll say the same, I love my job, and it's nice to be back in the classroom, to see the kids, to see their enthusiasm and do what I love.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been extremely fortunate because working in early years, and we've been open all the way since Christmas anyway. So I have seen the vast majority of our children coming through, and we've had a few that haven't been with us, and they're all now back, which is lovely. And I've been so impressed with the children because they've just literally come back into preschool like they've never been away and just got on with it, which has been amazing to see. But I can appreciate from your position, Michelle, working with those slightly older children, they've got their own challenges to contend with by being pushed, out of education and then having to be thrown back into it again.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about education. We're here to talk about Disney, because we are both massive Disney fans who met through our love of Disney, who have remained friends through our love of Disney, to the point that we went to DLP together. We kind of bumped into each other in Walt Disney World a few times, and we do socialise normally when there's no global pandemics going on, really.
Yeah, we actually do quite like each other, don't we?
Yeah, but, I think I'd go stronger than like. You are my bestie, but yeah, and getting together to do the show is quite good for us, because it makes sure we actually sit down and talk to each other for quite a while, because normally it's all you set of texty messages via WhatsApp, really.
I'm going to say it's. We've always said this about Disney. It is kind of a bringing together fandom, I think. You're always going to get people that are not perhaps as pro-Disney as perhaps we would like to be. We're always quite a positive outlook, aren't we, on Disney, I think. And I think it kind of draws people together, that ability to celebrate something. Because I know when I talk about it at work, I get these very strange looks from my work colleagues. They think I'm a little bit mad. So it's quite nice to be able to sit here and talk to you and know that you don't think I'm actually that mad. And I'm hoping that our listeners agree that we're not completely mad as well, and that, that our love of this is very well founded. And, it breeds friendships. And as we've found, Michelle, through utilising particularly social media, that we've got a plethora of people we would now call friends, who some we've met, some we haven't met. And, just through like our weekly Zoom Disney quiz, we've now got people that I classify as my friends, because I see them every week and we have a chat, and we do our little silly Disney quiz, but we also chat about our lives and talk about how we're getting on and touch base with each other, which is really lovely. And it's like, you and I, we've got our love of Disney, and we both found that we're both like our burlesque evenings, and there's all these little things that kind of cross over.
Can I just say, yes, we love Disney, but we're not afraid to say where their failings lie as well.
No.
In a nice way, though.
Yes, I'm gonna say it's with a well-intended, not just an excuse to have a go. We like to be well thought out about it.
Yeah. And as I am packing away bit by bit my Disney life into boxes for my big move in a couple of weeks, I'm sort of thinking, oh my word, I have got so much Disney stuff. You don't realise. You really don't realise. And it sort of crept into each room, and as I'm sort of like going through the drawers to start packing things like cookie cutters, it's like, well, those are the Disney cookie cutters and those are the other ones. It's like, and those are the spatulas that are Disney and those are the other, and it's like, it's just crept everywhere, like even tea towels and things like that. And I'm not complaining, but it's like, oh my word, it's like literally the whole house looks like it's been thrown up Disney. And when I've had removal men round to the house to sort of give a quotation for moving us, they've just sort of looked at me like I'm a bit mad, because there's like rows of little vinylmation and artwork going up the stairs and boxes of hoodies and boxes of handbags and yeah.
Yeah, I think personally that we don't actually buy all this stuff, Michelle. I think it somehow self-breeds. That's the conclusion that I've come to.
Well, after packing my handbags, I will agree to that. That's a very good way of explaining it to Tom. Yes, darling, my handbags bred. The Vera Bradley had a romantic, passionate evening with the Dooney and Burke and gave birth to a Harvey seatbelt bag.
There you go, you see.
Yeah.
Your get out of jail free card has just been given to you, Michelle.
Absolutely, and I no doubt I can apply that rule to the Disney jewellery as well.
And Starbucks mugs.
No comment. They've already been packed, actually. And they're not all Disney anyway. They're just me and nutty Starbucks obsession. Anyway, many years ago, we're going to talk about Disney. And we have a couple of bits of Disney history, which I'm going to hand the mantle over to Jane to tell us all about.
Yeah, I've actually got 3 little bits. So the first one, we'll go chronologically in time, as we like to do. 1948, we see the birth of an actor, a voice actor, a comedian, film director, writer, and the voice of Mike Wazowski, Billy Crystal.
Oh. Don't throw Mama from the train. Oh, love that film.
Oh, Harry Met Sally. Love When Harry Met Sally. But anyway, yeah, and I didn't realise that he was rumoured to play Buzz Lightyear at one point.
Oh,
that would have been
wow.
different. Yeah, could see it, but you know, interesting, would have been an interesting turn of events. Moving on to 1991, and not so nice news. This saw the passing of the amazing Howard Ashman. So he was named a Disney legend in 2001. Obviously, very well known for working on such things as Beauty and the Beast, probably my favourite, Aladdin, Little Mermaid. He also worked on one of my other favourite musicals, which was Little Shop of Horrors. So there you go. And then just one more thing that we have to kind of remember, whether we want to or not, because it was this time a year ago that Disneyland closed. Can you believe it? It's a year ago.
Oh, wow. Well, sadly as well, today as we're recording, Disneyland Paris, they were all geared up to opening at the beginning of April, and they've just basically rescinded that order and haven't even offered a date.
No, they just said opening soon, and that was it. And I'm thinking, oh, just... See, the optimist in me thinks maybe they'll open before April the 2nd. I know that's not going to happen. I know that. But the little bit inside of me just thought, oh. And then I went, nah, it's not going to happen, is it? So, yeah.
I got my calendar out thinking, right, I'm going for my first vaccine this weekend. So if I'd get the next one in 3 to 4 months, is it? I was kind of working when I would feel happy enough going on a Disney trip, and I was thinking, oh, I could maybe sneak in a trip over to Disneyland Paris in August.
Yeah.
Now that would be something that would bring a massive smile to my face.
That would work out right with vaccines and everything, wouldn't it? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me personally, that's the only way I'd go. And I don't feel comfortable as yet flying on a plane overseas to America, but as soon as things are a little bit easier, I suppose, and more people have been vaccinated, I suppose I would do the USA. So I'm not ruling it out for Christmas, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's, we're not going to get into the politics of COVID, are we? But
No.
I think it's that thing of let's just touch some wood, cross our toes, cross our fingers, and let's hope that we're going to see some sort of normality as we would like to see it sooner rather than later.
Yes, please. And one of the things that me and you desperately want to do is to be able to go to the Disney store.
To buy more things to pack away.
Yes, basically. And I happened to notice that in the theme parks, they're now selling some transportation-based clothes made by Her Universe.
Ooh.
That's what I thought, because I don't know if everybody is aware of this. This is the clothing line that Ashley Eckstein's in charge of, and it's her fangirl fashion company. And she's done lots of things on Star Wars, lots of things on Marvel. Well, she's thought about Disney transportation, and there is some amazing pieces. I'm just a little bit sticker shocked, I will admit. There is a fantastic, really cute monorail going round the Mickey design, and I just love it. I think it's so cool with the teal monorail, but $37 for a t-shirt for me is a little bit OTT.
It's a little bit on the warm side of pricing, isn't it?
It is. There's some nice leggings as well. They're $39.99. And they've got different modes of transportation you can find in the theme parks, which is cool. Really like that. Again, I'd be asking someone with an annual pass maybe to buy me it as a birthday gift.
Yeah. I mean, I do love her stuff. The Her Universe stuff is quite fab. And it's, like you said, Michelle, it covers all sorts of fandoms. I've got a friend of mine who's very much into, which I know your Kieran is as well, into Doctor Who, and that she does some amazing Doctor Who dresses and things, but say they're not the cheapest in the world. I was desperate to buy some going back to 2016 when we had Star Wars Celebration over here in the UK, and the queues for the retail shop, the merchandise shop, were unbelievable. And I didn't actually get into the shop till the last day when the queues were like non-existent. And I did look at some of the skirts and they were amazing. But unfortunately, there was lots of very big sizes left and I was very little and it weren't going to work. But, but again, they're not the cheapest stuff in the world.
No.
As nice as they are.
No, and like there's a t-shirt with a tank top on top, like a vest, we would call in the UK. And it literally looks like someone's just rolled it up, stamped up and down on it and hung it up again. Because to say you're paying $40 for this, it really doesn't, get one of those steamer things out, okay? So the pictures I'm referring to are on WDW News today, and you can help yourself and have a little peek over there and see what you think on that. But talking about buying ourselves gifts, Jane, which probably will come to a lot of UK mums this weekend, is that we have Mother's Day.
We do, Mothering Sunday in the UK.
And it's a bit of a quirky one for us because not everybody in the world will have Mothering Sunday. And I was trying to explain it to our lovely friend Kat from Dis Down Under because she said, what? Ours is in May. Why's yours here? So basically, Mother's Day is celebrated on a different day each year in the UK because it is linked to Easter.
Yes.
And it falls on the fourth Sunday during the period of Lent.
Well, consider myself educated. I always just know it's sometime around the middle-ish of March. I never knew that. You've educated me, Michelle.
You see, I've something to do with Easter. So that's why it changes every year for us in the UK. But today is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day, Jane.
Yes, and to you, Michelle.
I will have one of my little children at home, and she will be looking forward to being a mother of her own come May.
Crikey, yes, very true.
I cannot believe it.
No, I will have one of my children home. I will have the tall one home, and there's no chance of him becoming yes. He's not going to become a mother anytime soon, thank goodness. So, yeah.
So, if we were able to, in normal circumstances, I am sure we'd be tempting our children to go to that Primani to buy some Disney stuff, go to the Disney store. It's a bit limited this year, but if I was in a Disney theme park and I was wanting to celebrate Mother's Day, for me personally, I would like some nice little snacky things and a nice coffee, sat on the hub, looking around, people watching, on the grass, feeling happy.
I would take that in a heartbeat, Michelle.
You see, I know how to please my Janie, don't I?
I'm a woman of very simple tastes. I will admit that. I am easily pleased. most of the time. Maybe I should just shut up now, actually.
Okay.
No, I'm very hard to please. I like really expensive things, please. No? Is that better?
Yes, off your children for Mother's Day.
Yeah, well, I should wait and see what happens and then report back.
I think I've got it all sewn up. I've asked for a certain cookie jar as a combination present for Mother's Day and my birthday.
And I know which one you're talking about, Michelle. It's very nice.
Yes. Anyway, normally when we talk about Disney animation and we talk about the family unit, we normally are a little bit critical that the fact that so many of the children featured really don't have good role models. You know, you're thinking about the male influences in their life. They've either been killed off or something's happened to them. And, you know, I just thought, let's turn it on the tables a little bit and talk about those amazing Disney mum role models that there are out there.
Okay.
And I've got a list of 10, and I don't think
Right.
we need to put them in any order, but perhaps we may say which is our favourite. And I
Okay.
thought we could just have a little bit of a discussion about some of them as we go through these. And the first
Okay.
one that springs to mind always brings a tear to any mum's eye, mainly for the song Mrs. Jumbo from Dumbo.
Oh.
Totally devoted mother.
And yeah, and very much wanting to be a mother, I would say.
Yeah, she was desperate for that stork to turn up.
She was, and you know, that's what motherhood is all about, isn't it? It is that desire to bring new life into the world.
And I can totally identify for that, for somebody who tried for so long to have children and ended up having fertility treatment and being so desperate and then miscarrying and losing a few babies on the way. Seeing a story like that where you've got a mum that is so desperate to be a mum and be a good mum to the best of her ability, because let's be honest, you know, you have this perfect ideal of motherhood and it ain't like that at all. Come on, let's be honest, you know. Some days you just don't get out of your pyjamas. Some days you have to change your top 15 times because the baby's vomited in your hair, and, you know, we've all been there.
I remember not knowing what a warm cup of tea was for about, easily 2 years. Must have been, surely, to goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember juggling 2 babies at once with having twins as well, and
Oh,
it's
of
like,
course,
oh my
yeah.
word. It was like
And,
tag team.
my favourite was forgetting to, when sitting breastfeeding my first child and putting my cup of tea and the TV remote control out of reach and not being able to get to them whilst breastfeeding.
I know.
And I did it every time. It's just daft. And then, why do those little memories stick with you? Why would I remember that? That's bizarre, but
Well,
you know.
That is because you want to have superhero abilities to be able to get that remote control and to get that cup of tea. So I'm moving on to the mum that I think is my absolute favourite. And this
Okay.
is Helen Parr, also known as Elastigirl. Because, come on, let's face it, you can get your housework done so much quicker if you're made of elastic.
I can say that brings new meaning to the word multitasking, doesn't it, really?
Well, feeding your young Ethan and being able to get the remote control and manage your cup of tea, not a problem for Elastigirl.
No, definitely not.
She's elastic and she's dexterous and she can stretch her body, mould it into different shapes. You know, I must admit, I'm not a big fan of the life person she married. You know, it wouldn't have been my cup of tea, you know. But hey-ho. She has her 3 children and she loves them to pieces, and she's what I would call the ultimate mother hen that is always wanting to protect her children.
Yeah, she's a very, very together person, isn't she? She's a real. She's got a handle on it, and you know that she's the driving force behind that family unit. That everything's going to be in its place where it should be because of what she does to that family, or brings to that family, I should say.
Yeah. You know, she is that central hub of a person that keeps everybody in check, looks after them all. And the only downside I would say to her, really, is that, you know, you've got this aspirational character of who is able to do everything. And again, at times you've just got to realise, you know what? It may be like that in the movies, but it's not like that in real life.
We can aspire. That's all we can do.
Yeah, true. true. And her voice by Holly Hunter, absolutely amazing voice.
Yeah, brilliant casting, brilliant.
So moving down the list, any that you want to talk to? So we've talked about Mrs. Jumbo, Duchess from Aristocats, Jane?
Yeah, I'm not a big Aristocats fan actually, so I'm kind of, yeah, my knowledge is a little bit thin on that one, to be fair.
Oh no, Abraham de Lacy, Giuseppe Casey, I'm Thomas O'Malley. O'Malley the alley cat. I love this film and I put it on all the time because my oldest cat, Marie, is named after one of Duchess's kittens, Marie, Berlioz and Toulouse. And she is a wonderful mother. She's always looking after her children. She's very ladylike. You know, she's the pet to a rich aristocrat. She's devoted to her owner. You know, she's kind, she's friendly, she's caring, protective, but she also is a nurturing mother because, you know, she's trying to think, well, you know, here you go, have a go at playing some music and have a go at doing a bit of artwork, you know, and she's okay. Yeah, she lets them do a bit of play fighting, but she will tell them off and say, you know, be nice.
Yeah. So well, most mums have to be kind and firm to be fair, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think she is really good at that. So, okay, let's go to one that you might know a little bit more about. What about Queen Ariana from Tangled?
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of a sad one, isn't it, really? Because with her losing her daughter, but keeping that flame alive, that, you know, that never giving up on hope that she would be back one day. I think that's the kind of thing with a mother, isn't it? The element of this undying, this devoted love to a child, even though that child isn't there, and holding out hope for its return. And it takes fortitude and strength to be able to do that.
It's quite a powerful piece of imagery as well, thinking as a mother or father in this case, to lose a child, you know, that they thought she had passed, but they kept hope that she hadn't. And that is a very, very difficult topic to put into essentially what is a children's film. Obviously, it's liked by adults alike, but it's real life, and these things do happen. Sadly, you know. I know in personal experience, my aunt lost her son, and she finds that incredibly difficult to deal with. So it's nice that you can have these kinds of conversations and see that it is actual real life in a Disney movie. Yeah,
and I think, you know, like you said, Michelle, it's very brave to want to tackle something like that in an animation and appreciate that you're creating a film that, yes, predominantly it's a kids movie or a family movie, depending on how you want to describe it, but recognising that you can put other messages in there that will be picked up. The kids may not recognise it, but those adults that are sitting there with their children can draw into that and get that deeper meaning from something. Because it's not, you know, it's not something that people want to be able to want to go through, and it's difficult to talk about, and it might just make somebody somewhere feel a little bit comforted, and if that's all it achieves, then so be it. But, you know, like you say, don't shy away from these things, because unfortunately things happen. And yes, all right, this was a happy ending, and it doesn't always work out like that. As you say, it's kind of brave to go down that route.
And then let's go back in time, all the way back to Bambi. And Bambi losing its mum.
Yeah.
You know, that is such an iconic set of pieces of animation, beautifully put together, you know. But again, tackling a big thing. And this is, you know, Bambi is a 1940s production. Yeah. You know, we're not talking about something, you know, 2-3 years ago. So to have a storyline where, you know, of child losing its parent and, you know, not being able to appreciate the impact and influence a mother has on a child's life, that was a massive, brave storyline.
Well, I think that, like we're saying, you know, it's very easy to dismiss any animation, whether it's Disney or whomever, for just being, you know, a family-friendly movie, a kid movie. But because, you know, you've got extremely talented storytellers behind these movies, whether it's something from the 1940s or more up to date, it does mean that they can stretch themselves and tackle the perhaps more difficult aspects of life. I mean, I'm kind of drawn to Nani from Lilo and Stitch because, she's Lilo's older sister, but has to take on the mantle of being her mum, and looking out for her. And it's not easy. She doesn't get it right all the time. And, she probably doesn't really want it because she's got her own life to lead, but she understands and accepts that that's how the cards have been dealt, and she loves the sister and she's going to look out for her and make sure she's, taken care of her, and that she has somebody there, that she's got the family that's so important to people. So I think that's the nice thing with Disney, the fact that you can look at it from, not always from the mother's point of view, but from people who have to take on the mother's role, or the children that have to all of a sudden, like with Bambi, recognise that he's got to find their own way in life, and take whatever's been passed down to you and use that and move on with it.
Which reflects real life, because in real life, number of us have had, a number of us have got people in our lives who act like a mother but did not give birth to us. You're talking about people who have, an aunt that may act as a parent to them. You may have been adopted or fostered or be a step parent. You have chosen to be that mother role. You have chosen to do that. And in my mind, that is such a powerful thing to do, to take on that responsibility.
Absolutely.
And it's great to see, that being shown in a really enjoyable film.
Yeah, and I say, you can sit there and watch it with your family, and you can watch it as the fun animation that it's set out to be. But if these things can hit you on another level, and it might spark a conversation with those that are around you, then, it's just an added bonus to everything, isn't it?
And don't get me wrong, I don't think Disney's got it right every single time.
No,
because
of course they
thinking
haven't.
about Brave and Lady Eleanor, how she made her daughter Merida go down the route of the typical, you have to marry a man to be good at anything, not the greatest mum sort of thing, really.
No, and unfortunately, you're dealing with old stories. You're dealing with movies that were made. Some obviously Brave's not that old a movie, but some movies that were made decades ago, and they reflect the times. So you have to kind of take some of them with a little bit of, I don't want to say grain of salt, because it kind of sounds like I'm dismissing it, but you have to remember when some of these things were actually written and put into life. So remember where they've come from. But yeah, so and we've moved on, haven't we, as a society, and we recognise now that women don't need to follow down these certain paths, and that we can strike out on our own and do things our way and not be beholden to certain stereotypes.
Last one I think we're going to mention is from Moana and Moana's mum, Sina. And I'm just going to sort of say with this one that this mum really does everything she can to encourage her daughter's passion. She's got a lot she personally deals with. Her mother falls ill, she passes away, she has an argument with her husband, there's problems with her home rising, the food's disappearing.
Yeah.
She must feel totally overwhelmed, bereft, but she does everything she can. And I think as a mother, being that selfless person is the key.
Yeah, and I think sometimes as a mum, if life around you is kind of falling to pieces, at least you can put your energies into your children and be there for them and help them through whatever they may be going through, and give them the support they need, and recognise that there is an element sometimes of having to let them go to so they can set out themselves in the world and they can do what they need to do for themselves. But they need to know that mum's always going to be there. And that's the thing, isn't it? Mums are always going to be there. Whatever happens, however old your children get, you will still be their mum. And your job as a mum is to be there to support them and help them and be the shoulder to cry on, the person to go to for a hug, whatever it may well be, no matter whether they're 4 years old and they've just fell over and they grazed the knee, or whether they're 34 years old and, they need help fixing the car or whatever it may well be.
Yeah. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed our little discussion. We would love for you to continue this on our Facebook page. We invite you to pop by, let us know who your favourite Disney mum is and what your analysis would be. We'd love to hear from you. info@disneydreamgirls.com. You can tweet us @DisDreamGirls. Also, our Instagram page is @DisDreamGirls. And we will be back next week, Janie, I believe. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I say, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything being right, the wind blowing in the right direction. We'll get there, won't we?
We will indeed. So, lovelies, thank you for taking the time out of your incredibly busy lives to listening to Jane and I prattle on. We really do appreciate it. Hope you're all safe. Keep yourself safe. And we'll be back real soon. It's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.